今天您将收看的是
今晚我们听音乐，伊朗电影配乐大师裴曼雅茨达尼安为您讲述电影中音乐的力量。
大家好，观众朋友们，您现在看到的是今晚我们听音乐。裴曼雅茨达尼安是一位来自伊朗的电影配乐大师，在2019年，他来到了第22届上海国际电影节，举办了音乐大师班。那在今天的节目当中，裴曼就和大家一起来分享电影当中的音乐奥秘。
电影是一门影像艺术，但是配乐在电影中占据着不可或缺的位置。2019年6月，受第22届上海国际电影节的邀请，享誉世界的伊朗电影配乐大师裴曼雅茨达尼安以电影当中音乐的力量为题，带来了一场精彩的大师班，分享了自己在创作电影配乐时的经验和想法。裴曼雅茨达尼安曾与多位伊朗著名导演合作，是大师级导演阿巴斯的御用配乐。在阿巴斯的电影中，音乐的出现并不普遍，却总是起到画龙点睛的作用。裴曼创作的音乐成功地为阿巴斯的影像表现提供共鸣的空间，产生更深层次的意味。
For Wind Will Carry Us, I haven't used any Iranian instrument.There are indeed 3 classical instruments. It's a trio for piano, oboe, and basson. So they are all classical instruments that I have used. But maybe the reason that it sounds a little bit Iranian, it's because that I am Iranian and the filmmaker was Iranian, so it sounds like like Iranian poet.And I believe that the film by itself is that much poetic that it demands to have such a poetic ending.
裴曼敏锐地捕捉到了阿巴斯赋予麦田和山丘的情感力度，在看似平淡的叙事中，他以天才的感知能力提炼出生与死的诗意，随后以闲散飘渺的曲调把它们准确地呈现出来。
I do not use directly any specific Iranian technique, but it is in my blood. It's in me. I believe for each artist, if they are connected to their source, which means to their own culture, it's so important. We are like a plant, like a tree that we want to bear fruit.So we need to have a root in our own land. If I'm well connected to the source, which is my own culture, even if I want to bring my fruit to other countries, like it's as if a tree has decided to bring its branch to the neighborhood and to give it its own fruit. But the root is someplace which we call it homeland.For me, it's Iran.
对于裴曼而言，作曲是一个自然的过程，不同的事物给他激发不同的灵感，从中他自由融合不同的音乐风格，并运用多种乐器，同时将西方和声融合到波斯音乐元素中。
Indeed, the choice was not mine, and it was the art of the maestro Abbas.Because he asked me for several pieces to be played for him, and then he chose this one. Indeed, the music for this film is based on one piano piece that I composed many years before that film, and he chose that one, but he asked me to have a new arrangement for the film so that it doesn't have any sadness, any happiness, or any specific feeling, and so I did it. I mean, I rearranged it as it was demanded, and of course the director himself and the film, they helped me to do so. Abbas Maestro was the one that brought me to the field of cinema. So it was for me the greatest chance ever I had in my career to know him through his elder son. We were friends, and so for me it was really a good luck.
1969年，裴曼出生于德黑兰。这位伊朗电影音乐家、钢琴家和作曲家，至今已创作了40多部钢琴独奏作品，并持续进行电影配乐、舞台剧、多媒体艺术等音乐创作。
I studied music when I was at the age of 6. I started to play piano. Maybe even before studying it, I started to play this very small melodica and organ. It was like a toy. At the age of 4 or 5, I started to play it, and without having any knowledge. So it showed my parents that I have the talent. And then they asked a teacher to come and teach me at the age of 6 before I go to school. So I learned musical alphabet before any language, before Persian alphabet. I learned it, and then so it came to me very early, and I was at the age of 11 that I started to compose, and it was amazing because I was not supposed to play anything rather than the lesson. There was a time that my father just noticed that I'm playing something beautiful, as he said, and he asked me, "What is this piece you're playing?" And it was my own piece, and I said, "This is a piece that belong to the next book." And then he asked my teacher that he is playing a lesson from the next book, and I was in trouble because I had to prove that it is in that book. And I tried to show and I pretend that I've lost where it was. And finally, my teacher, who was a composer also himself, he told me that, "Have you done it yourself?" He asked me, and I said, "Yes, but I don't want that my dad knows it because maybe it makes him angry." And he encouraged me that it's not a bad thing, it's a beautiful thing that you have been able to play something by your own, and it means composition. But you know that for being a composer, you need to know certain knowledge, like harmony, like theory, the things. Then I started at the age of 12 to learn harmony, which was very, very, very difficult for me at that time. I preferred to compose by myself, not by that knowledge, because the knowledge by itself, theoretically, it was very difficult. But I did it, and step by step, I learned more, and I understood that each step of knowing more can help me to improve the capacity and the ability to compose stronger and richer.
电影音乐必须和电影有相互映衬，彰显影片的艺术巧思以及创作特色，进而把影片的故事内容以及思想情感淋漓尽致地表达出来。裴曼对波斯传统音乐和东方情调有着自己个性化的诠释。 他的配乐作品优雅而充满情感力量，与影片的情绪流转相得益彰。
I have a memory of a film named Wednesday Firecracker that I composed from Asghar Farhadi, and it was that when we did the spotting together with Asghar, we made a decision to have the music for the beginning, for the middle of the film at a certain time, and at the end of the film and the credit. So when I almost finished the composing, I did a test for myself to understand how it works on the image, because it's so important. Sometimes you believe something, it works, and it doesn't work, or it works differently. So I wanted to know how it works, each piece, at a certain moment. And I was just with my sound engineer in the studio, and then I found that the middle part, it's not very, it makes the film like a video clip. Then I called him immediately and say, Asghar, listen to me. For the middle part that you're having this picture of Firecracker Wednesday and the character is in the car, if I bring any kind of music, it makes it a clip. Do you want to have a clip, a video clip inside your film? Because I don't feel it's really good. I mean, for me as a person that I want to see this film in cinema, this part may be annoying, and as much as I know, you prefer to have more realistic film. It's as if that you, for no reason, we have put this part with music to tell something that it doesn't relate to the story, or it's not related to the image. And he answered that I agree with you, with no doubt, because I had a doubt, I never told you. Now that you're telling me this, I agree that it's not needed. And then we decided not to have this. So indeed, the music for this film is like a parenthesis in the beginning and the end of the film. I remember that even the producer asked me, but it meant to be more. And I said yes, but more could have destroyed the film. So this was the reason that we decided not to have that much.
烟花星期三是伊朗著名导演阿斯哈法哈蒂的作品。影片透过对婚姻生活充满憧憬，深陷婚姻泥淖，离婚后独立生活，三个处于不同婚姻阶段的女性角色尔虞我诈的交手过程，将人性中的幽微难测辩证得丝丝入扣。
Silence is part of that music. So finally, we have to be careful, not for the music that we are composing, but also for the silent part that we decide. It's as if that we compose the silence. I remember that once Hitchcock, he asked his composer to come and decide for the spotting. And the composer said, this film doesn't need to have music till the end. They pay him for whole film because he wrote this silence through whole music, and then at the end you can listen something. For a musician, silence is a kind of music.
接下来您将收看的是
从2006年起， 裴曼雅茨达尼安开始与一系列中国导演合作，担任电影配乐。从2006年起，裴曼雅茨达尼安开始与一系列中国导演合作，担任电影配乐。李煜的《观音山》中有他情感涌动的节奏。2011年，裴曼参与了李煜导演的《观音山》的配乐工作。在这部探讨青春成长、生命归宿、爱情条件的电影中，裴曼针对不同的角色制定了音乐主题。
Indeed, for Buddha Mountain, I had two guides from producer and from director, Mr. Fang Li and Liu. Both they helped me to finalize, to find a way, because if you think about the music of this film, you can find we have two types of music. One is more orchestral, which goes back to the magnificent image of the film, the mountain, and one is about the younger generation, which is the electronic music, a little bit upbeat music. So I just followed two different generations. It's as if that producer gave me the idea more about the next generation, because we see two generations in this film. And I followed both of them, and then I tried to combine these two types of music, like classical or orchestral music with this upbeat or electronic music. So in a way that they try to understand each other better, the music tries to merge. So this was the reason that the music for this film for me is very special. It has two sides, like one shows the new generation and one elder generation. One is more profound, one is more outer life, the wishes and ambition that the younger generation they have, their worries, and if they understand the old generation or not, or how they feel respect to them or not. So for me, it's amazing, one of the most amazing experience, because I have two sides of composition in this film.
音乐的最大优势就是能够高度浓缩与概括人类最内在层次的心理感受和细腻情感。
I think that as long as you know each other much better, the director is easier for you not to convince them, or they don't need to convince you. You do your job, and then it's like a ping pong between you and them. And even for that film, I remember that I stayed in Iran and didn't come to China for that collaboration. So I sent the music, and then they sent me their ideas, and then finally we got it done. And it's done by two composers. For Mystery, Johan Johansson, who may rest in peace, is also the co-composer of the film. So we have part of the music is mine, and part of it belongs to him. Even though you use different texture, different colors, for instance, for those films that it needs more local ethnic music, I use really ethnic instrument. But to be able to say that this story can happen anywhere else, and life is same in all around the world, and we are same species in whole planet as human, no matter our race and nation. Or for Indian film, you can use Armenian duduk or another instrument. Also, I would like to tell that for a composer, instruments are just colors for painters. If you tell me that this kind of blue mostly is coming from Turkey, I agree, but even as a Canadian painter, I can use this Turkish blue. And there's no restriction. Then the most important is to find a way to explain the feeling and bring up the proper emotion.
好，以上就是今天节目的全部内容，非常感谢各位的收看，让我们下一次再见。
下期您将收看的是音乐与舞蹈的碰撞，艺术与霓裳的融合。今晚共赏时尚现代舞剧《Reborn》重生，突破自我，寻找真我的跨界之美。